I want to play a game. And that game is this week's Franchise Friday video. What franchise are we looking at this week, you might ask? Saw. Now, this is the only white button-up shirt that I own. It's a little bit booby. Like, I wish there was another button up here. This is the shirt I wore for Scully. And even then, I wish it had a button up here, and I still wish it does. I might just add one at some point, but I don't have one today. And I actually did try to buy, like, real sclera black contact lenses with the red in the inside, but colored contacts are actually illegal. So they're hard to find. So you just get red ones today. I bought these at Anime North. Illegally, like I said. So I'm going to start painting my face white here, like our good old boy Billy in the Saw franchise, Billy the Puppet, who I thought, before I saw the franchise, played a much bigger role than he does. And there were a lot of assumptions about the Saw franchise from people who haven't seen it before. And I want to talk about that a little bit, because I was one of those people, before I became like a horror stan the way I am now, I was one of those people who, A, was not really interested in horror movies because I didn't think I liked them. Spoiler alert, I do. But the Saw movies in particular have a bad reputation. I know even using this phrase is going to get this video demonetized, but the Saw movies have this stigma, stereotype, whatever you want to call it, that they're just torture porn and there's no story to them. People who watch the Saw movies watch them just to watch people get torn up. And I must admit that I was one of those people, because that's just what other people said, and I'm a lemming and I don't know how to think for myself. Oh, how can you watch the Saw movies? They're just gross for the sake of being gross. That kind of bitch. But I have never had a problem, and hopefully will never have a problem, admitting when I'm wrong. Because I'm gonna guess about a year ago, when I kind of made it my mission to watch, you know, classic horror movies that I had never seen before, I was like, well, I feel like I should watch the Saw franchise. And so I bought the box set of the original 7 movies on Amazon. I must have plowed through them in a couple of days. These movies are not at all what their reputation tells you they are. The Saw movies are some of the most intricately written and thought out storylines that I have seen in any movie in a while. I find it hard to come up with a movie, let alone a series that stretches 7 movies, that is as intelligently written and executed as the Saw franchise is. Yes, there's a lot of gore, but the storyline is so there, and it makes everything make sense. I can't really go through the Saw movies individually the way I have in my other 2 Franchise Fridays videos, because of how intricately they're written. There are things, you know, that call back to movies in the past, and the storyline isn't quite as cut and dry as, say, a Friday the 13th movie, which is both a blessing and a curse. It makes them a much better franchise as a whole, but it also means that when I want to watch Saw, I feel like I have to set aside time to watch all 7 original Saw movies, and I can't just watch 1 or 2 or pick a middle one and that sort of thing. So our franchise here essentially is made to follow the story of John Kramer. John Kramer, who we later know as Jigsaw, I think he's a world-renowned engineer, right? It's not an architect, he's an engineer. And then his wife loses their baby, and he goes a little bit nutty. And she leaves him, and then he gets diagnosed with, like, severe brain cancer. And he goes a little bit nuttier. And essentially what he does is he starts going after people that he thinks are taking their lives for granted. And he puts them in these extreme situations that are possible to get out of. To me, that's like a big piece of the puzzle that people forget. It's not like he's specifically putting these people in these things for them to die. There is always a way to get out as far as John is concerned. And through either a video message or a little tape recording, John tells them, essentially, that they've taken their life for granted. How badly do they want to live? The choice is theirs. And I think his hope is that if they survive his challenge, they will be changed and they will have a new appreciation and recognition for life. And that sort of happens with, I think, his first survivor, Amanda, who becomes like his protege and almost like obsessed with him in a weird way. She creates her own little games and that sort of thing too, although hers are unwinnable, so John doesn't really like that. And neither do I, because the whole point is they have great lives, but they take it for granted. So John's like, nah, not on my watch. And he, Batmans them a little bit. Obviously it's a concept that is messed up in real life, but in a movie, for a movie, Like, I don't hate it. Like, feel free to call me out if this is totally messed up and sadistic, and I will at myself. And maybe it's because I'm in a wheelchair and I never really had a choice or a say in that, but a lot of people do take their lives for granted. They have great lives and they treat their lives like shit, and they treat their bodies like shit. And, well, I don't believe that putting them in these extreme traps is the answer. I do think that some people should have, like, a wake-up call to see how great their life is. And to me, that's kind of, like, low-key the point of the movie, is, like, John showing people how great their lives are, and will they choose to keep living, or will they choose to die? Just for clarity, I would like to reiterate that I do think John is insane. Think of some of the situations he puts these people in, like, you're trapped in this machine that's gonna blow up, and the key is buried behind your eyeball, like you have to dig it out. That's a yikes. But what I'm saying is I don't necessarily disagree with the mentality that a lot of people do take their lives for granted. So if we can just for a second talk a little bit about the first movie specifically. The first movie is obviously a classic, and I think the only one that really can stand alone because it was made sort of that way. And it's just such a phenomenal storyline that takes place mostly in one room. I mean, you have to have a good movie for there to be practically one setting for most of it, and it still be a great movie. There's a reason that first movie still has a cult following, and that's because it is just beautiful and phenomenal and well done. I think I'm making my eye sockets too big. Like, I think I should have kept my eyeballs areas smaller. Like, I think it's too late now. Now I'm just giant. Am I gonna have enough room for the swirls on my cheeks even? Put the brush down before we go any farther overboard. There's something about the second Saw movie and then onward that I feel like the quality of the movie itself really takes like a nosedive. It feels more like a made-for-MTV movie at that point than like a real, actual cinematic masterpiece. I don't know if it's like visuals or whatever. Maybe the fact that Donnie Wahlberg is in it. Guess what Donnie Wahlberg plays, guys? An angry cop. How'd you know? I do like the sort of creepy house setting in the second one. I think it really works well, you know, because of the nature of the Saw movies. They have to walk around and find clues, and that's how they're going to save themselves and that sort of thing. And the second one is sort of where we start to get more of that classic Saw formula, where there's like twists and turns every left, right, and center, and you got to be like really good at riddles to play Jigsaw's games. And I mean, you got to consider there are 7 movies in the original run, and he dies in the third one, and yet the murders and the story keeps going because John Kramer was so intelligent that he was able to rope other people into playing his game, you know, his ex-wife, a detective, and they all kept it going after he died. Dang, this lipstick like matches the contacts like exactly. It's funny because I actually grabbed a water-activated paint to do the swirls on my cheeks, but I actually think I might just use that liquid lipstick because it matches so nice. Now you might be wondering why I keep referring to the Saw franchise as 7 movies when there are in fact 8. I gotta be honest with you, I hated Jigsaw. As in like the 8th movie in the series. They should have just left the franchise as it was. To me, by essentially trying to be like a prequel, it tried to like retcon too many things and be like, well actually, everything you ever knew, this happened before it. And please remember that I watched it in essentially the same sitting that I watched the other ones, so the other ones were like still fresh in my mind, and something about that new one, Jigsaw, it just felt so not genuine to me. I just really didn't enjoy it. It makes me sad because I really wanted to like it. Now, however, they are making another new Saw movie. I don't quite know what the story is going to be, if it's going to be a continuation of the last one, or if it's going to be a redoing, or what it is. But it's got Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson in it, so I want to trust it already. Like, I like both of them. They both usually do really good movies. So I have more faith in this new movie than I had in Jigsaw. But if you're going to watch the franchise, I recommend not even bothering with Jigsaw. Watch the rest of them, though. Now, let's see if I can do these swirls without crying. Is that decent? Whew! That was difficult. Difficult. Alright, time for the rest of the costume. I want to play a game. So, that's pretty much it. If I were to ever do Billy for like Halloween or something, this is how I would do it. I would definitely make the eye makeup smaller. I made it too big today, but that's fine. Sorry this Franchise Friday wasn't quite the same as the rest of them had been. I didn't know how to dive into the storyline of the Saw movies without it being really confusing. I tried to script it, but there's so much jumping back and forth that it's just not something I'm intelligent enough to do. But I have to say, if you've ever had interest in the Saw movies, I highly recommend them. If you want to watch a horror movie that has absolutely phenomenal writing and storylines, the Saw movies are the way to go. Definitely more so than any of the other two franchise Fridays I've done. Those are more hokey and fun. These are more actually intelligent movies. You know what I mean? The gore is the horror, but it's a brilliant storyline in the Saw movies, and I absolutely love them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed already, and I will see you next time. Bye!